if you don't think that you sound like anything other than an ass,
welcome to the Normal Nerds podcast. It's time for our weekly general grievance episode. This week we are going to be talking about sweaty Magic players. I am your host, Maxwell Ceresia.
and I am your host who is god awful at Magic, Davis Bates.
I have only played Magic a few times with Davis, but
It's okay. It's okay. I accept this about me.
Davis, before we get into it, I have a huge theory that if you're a STEM-minded person, you do better at Magic because it's created by a mathematician. Davis is not a STEM guy, so.
Yeah, I hate the math part. I love the story. I love all the flavor on the cards, and they're cool and pretty, but I fucking hate math and everything they do about it. But yeah.
Yeah. Before we get deep into the episode, I just want to do a quick overlay of that. I play Magic. I have a deck for pretty much almost every color. Not a big red fan myself, so I don't think I have a red deck. I'm not going to get too detailed on what Magic is. Just a card game, different colors, different lands, all that kind of stuff. You probably wouldn't be listening to this podcast if you didn't play Magic. But we don't hate the game of Magic. We think the game of Magic is fun. Good game. We just hate sweaty players. So, David, start out with one great example of why we hate sweaty players.
Ah, yes, the sweaty Magic player. So these are players who know an insane amount, like an ungodly amount about this game. And one of the things they'll do that we cannot stand and that most of the world can't is they'll talk in Magic cards. So let me explain that fast. Say there were 3 Magic players in a room. 2 of them were sweaty Magic nerds. They knew an ungodly amount of Magic. And then there was one, let's call him Davis, a regular Magic player who's not very good at it and doesn't memorize all the cards by heart. Davis would have no idea what the 2 sweaty Magic players are talking about because they will just they'll start referencing random cards while trying to explain something about another card. Something along the lines of like, oh yeah, that card? Well, that's just a blue-black version of Karn or something. It's like, I don't know what the card you just referenced is to explain what this card is. Like, I don't get it. And that is like one of the things that drives me nuts. And they'll have full-on like conversations about this. And I've watched them reference. I literally sat there and listened to them reference like 2 different cards. They've referenced like, in order to explain one card, they've referenced another card. And then to explain that card, they reference another card. And it just goes down the line. It's like, just tell me what the card does. I don't need to hear what it's like, what different version it exists in a different color of the game. Like, you're killing me here. I don't know this. I just play Magic because it has pretty colors and it's fun.
Exactly. And like to that point is like, they do that when you're playing sometimes.
Oh my
and
God.
If you're not a sweaty Magic player, like you're just like having a good time playing cards, like all the descriptions around the cards, and that's great. But like when I play cards, I'll be like, oh, this is Fog Bank, it can't take any damage and it's a wall or something like that. They'll just throw down a card that has like 20 paragraphs of description and be like, this is Xanafer the Destroyer, and I'm just like, and then they just keep moving out. I'm like, whoa, hold on a second. I don't know what that is because there's like 1 billion cards, so.
And counting. Yeah. Magic just keeps going.
So yeah, it's like I can't keep up with you here because like, and that's to me like super annoying because I've played Magic with people who are me and Davis and people who are sweaty players and whatnot, and they like cannot turn their brain off to that. They just assume everyone knows what they're talking about, and it's very annoying.
I still personally think that it's just a ploy to show how much more they know about Magic than you do.
That's true.
I stand by that. It's like the way they talk like this. Like obviously when it's against another Magic player that knows as much as another sweaty Magic player, they're like, it's like they're communicating that way, but they talk this way to you just to show that they know more than you do about this frivolous card game.
Yes. Frivolous is the point there. Yeah, I have always hated that because that point you're making is like they want to be like they know more than you. Also, they're doing it, I feel like, low-key because they want to beat you.
That's true.
And if they say a name of something real quick and don't describe it and they just move on from it, you're like, oh, okay, I guess that does something.
Yes.
And then lo and behold,
and then their strategy is already like by the time you figure out what that one card is, they've already played 3 more cards you don't know, and somehow that's an unbeatable combo now.
Yes.
So they're whipping out Exodia on you and not explaining what each one of the cards does. Like,
yes. And like to that point is like they do that kind of stuff like that. And if you listen to this podcast, me and Davis have talked about D&D before, and we kind of view everything as like have fun with it. They do not have fun with it.
No,
it's like
slightest.
So serious to them. It's like relax.
Yeah, they want to know, like they study these cards, and I don't know. I feel like it's yeah, I agree with that. Yes, whenever I play someone, and we've each probably known a bunch of people like this throughout our lives, but
oh yeah,
like they are when you're playing against them, like say they're playing against me, a kid who I pick up a Magic deck maybe once a year at best now, and they'll like get hardcore into it, serious with it. Me, it's like I'm just playing for fun, dude. I'm just trying to rekindle some of my high school joy that I had. I'm not like here to dethrone whatever nonsensical thing you have in your head. Like I don't care. I don't care if you're good at the game. That's awesome. Just play some Magic with me and drink some beer. That's all I want to do.
You're playing with a friend.
Yeah, that's the point. And then it's also crazy. I've been to a pre-release before in my lifetime. One actually, and I never plan on doing another one. But they were uber serious about it there. And I was I was new to Magic when I first started playing. Duh. Yes, I was doing Magic when I first started playing the game. No, I went to this pre-release not long after I'd started playing Magic, and so I got my ass kicked immediately. But then I would sit around and watch my friends who were much better at this game than I was, and the people they were playing were getting like mad. They were getting beat by them. It's like, what, dude? It's just a card game. You're literally playing cards that they have cartoon pictures on them. Like, just chill out.
Relax. Now, me and Davis have argued on this point outside the podcast. I do play pretty much everything I play to win. However, I play to win because I think that's the concept of games. But that does not mean like I'm like angry about losing and whatnot, unless it comes to like Mario Kart. Even then, I don't even get that upset about losing. I really don't. But like, I get like the concept of the game is to beat the other person. But like, I've played with people where you like try not to beat them because they get so mad if you're like, and honestly, I've never really experienced that in like other things. It's mainly Magic I really experienced that in. Obviously, there's other games like Risk and whatnot, but like Magic is like a game where I've played people where they like I kind of just let them win because I'm like I'd rather deal with them not being a whiny little bitch the entire time.
That's definitely a fair point. I think you've even told me a story before about how you were playing a kid once randomly that you didn't know, and your deck beat his, and he like stormed off angry. If you want to see the story.
Yeah, one time. Okay, so if you know Magic at all, you know one of the worst things. There's two things that annoy players the most in Magic, and that is counterspelling them, which is always fun. But that's part of the game. Everyone's got it. But milling players is when you make them have to burn cards that are in their standing deck that they're going to be pulling eventually. If you run out of cards in Magic, you lose the game. I love annoying people.
Yeah, you excel at it. Yep.
Yeah.
It's like an art to you.
Davis can contest. I am the DM for our D&D campaign. I love making annoying NPCs. If you ever listen to the podcast, you'll hear Expario, who is a quite crazy individual that annoys Davis's character beyond belief.
You'll be shocked that all my characters aren't alcoholics for that reason.
Yes, but so I made a deck that the concept was it was just they couldn't attack me, and I was just going to mill them to death. The deck probably cost me like $20. The one time I ever went to a card shop with a bunch of Magic nerds playing each other. Of course, it smelled terrible. Of course, they're all probably never seen a boob in their life.
They're sweaty.
They're sweaty for both reasons. They're sweaty. And this kid who had like a $200 deck, he just played me against that deck. I didn't even know he had an expensive deck. And I beat him, and he like stormed off. And the guy I came with was like, "That kid's super pissed right now." And I'm like, "What? Why?" And we were just playing the game, and he's just like, "That deck cost him like $200." I'm like, "What a loser! Relax, dude." Like, I'm not like I can understand if you're like I can understand getting upset if you're at like a really serious Magic tournament, like you want to win that stuff like that. Storming off, like it's part of being a winner. A good winner is being a good loser, also. But Magic players are not like sweaty Magic players are not good losers. They are the opposite of good losers. They'll like whip out rules on you that you've never heard of. and be like, oh, you can't have this, like, you know.
Yeah, they start to become both your opponent and the ref of the game somehow.
Yes.
I've noticed that a lot, and so in actual Magic tournaments, they have refs and everything. They do that, but when you're just playing against a buddy, you're just like, hey, it's Magic, woo. But they like hardcore. You can't do that. You can't do that. You can't do that. That's wrong. You can't do that. As they just like sit there and wait to play their carefully calculated, totally rule based turn. It's like I didn't know this was a new rule. I haven't played in 2 years. I don't care. Play like we used to. I don't know.
Yeah, exactly. Well, yeah, it's like one of those things. Like, we're normal nerds. It's the whole point of the podcast, and like, we kind of like, you know, we're very nerdy. We play D&D and we have played Magic. Like, these are, we'll talk about why we, real quick, just a little why we think Magic is nerdier than D&D. But we do those things. But like, when they get like that, it's like you gotta realize like not everyone is like you in this game.
Yeah.
Like, they're not. We don't all know the names of every card. Davis has read the lore. I haven't read the lore, and I probably played more Magic than he has because I used to play it for a lot.
That's true. I played Magic and read and pretty much stuck around because of the lore. But
yeah,
the lore is cool. If you don't play the card game, I do recommend the lore. The lore is super cool. But
yeah, it looks super cool.
Yeah.
But
what sells the cards? But whatever.
Yeah. It's just they're one of the things like you'll hear it's like a common thing we talk about is that the nerd community can be very toxic sometimes.
Oh God.
And I think Magic players are almost like sweaty Magic players can be kind of like the pinnacle of that a little bit.
I'd agree with that. I definitely agree with that. Yeah, because they get so into it and so mad about it, but they're always there to like. They're always there at the. They are actually the epitome of rules lawyers in my mind.
Yes.
Rules are a very big part of the game. I acknowledge that, but they take it to a next level because they are just annoying nerds about it, and it's bad. They're not normal nerds; they're annoying nerds, and it's not a good way to act. But whatever.
You know what? One of the worst things about that too is they always want you to play.
Oh my God! It's like their only thing. I don't know. I've noticed a lot. So not my friends, because the ones I play with do some other stuff. But back when I would go to a pre-release or sometimes a Magic tournament once in a while, or at least play with other Magic nerds that I didn't know about, it seemed like Magic was their whole thing. Like what they really didn't do anything else. They played video games sort of, but like 24/7, it was Magic to them.
Yeah, which is fun.
They always they always wanted to do that. It's like I don't know. I can play like 2-3 Magic games in a row before I'm like, all right. Time to go do something else.
Yeah, it's fun having a hobby, being interested in everything. But when you become, it's actually true with any hobby. If you become overly obsessed with it, it's not a good thing.
Yeah, it shouldn't be your entire personality.
Another thing is Magic players bring this up all the time, and they say it like it's super impressive, but I'm never impressed by this. It's like I've spent like over like $5,000 on cards. I'm like, congratulations!
Holy shit! I could have bought a car with that money. Like, are you kidding me?
Yeah. When they're like, this deck costs like $500. I'm like, sure, cool, dude.
Do me a favor and sell it for that exact amount of money again. You know.
It's almost to me as like it's me and Davis both are big golfers. We love golfing. Well, I know every nerd out there was probably like, whoa. No, I'm just kidding. Normal nerds, we do it all. Like, there's no judging. But it's like to me, it's like if someone's like, I spent like $5,000 on these clubs. It's like, oh, are you like perfect at it now? And they're like, no. It's like, okay, well then, what the fuck was the point?
Yeah. Exactly.
You should sell those.
Yeah. It's cool to have like if Magic's your hobby and you really want a cool deck, that's awesome. But I don't know. I'm not a fan of flaunting around like, ooh, here's my $5,000 deck. It's like it's pictures on cardboard. I know I sound very hypocritical about this because we are normal nerds. We play D&D and I waste money on a bunch of different nerdy shitty stuff. But I used to, when I was in high school, I never spent that much money, but I spent a lot of money on Magic cards, and I get it. But at some point for me, it was like, I'm never going to spend $5,000 on a deck or even 500. That's insanity. Like, this is cardboard. It has no resale value.
No. And also, I think it's one of those things like, yeah, we spent stuff on like nerdy stuff, but you don't like flaunt it to people like, check this out,
I don't, yeah.
bro.
I don't whip out like if I have oh my God. Yeah. I'm not going to whip out my gaming chair to everyone. It's like, oh, everyone on Discord, this is my new gaming chair. It cost me $300.
Losers, you plebs. Like,
Yeah.
yeah.
You're using normal swivel chairs? Well, ooh, I have now one that's purple. Ha. It's like, no, I'm never gonna do that. And that's the mentality they have though. And it's crazy in my mind. Like, why
Yeah.
would you do like who wants to hear that? Why if you don't think that you sound like anything other than an ass, then you're just completely delusional.
Yes, they are. They're so obsessed in the game. But if you're a sweaty Magic player, probably listening to this and like, you should know the names and all that stuff. That's fine. If you're a normal nerd who plays Magic, you're probably loving everything we're saying. Welcome
Yo.
to the club. We feel your pain.